this is the year you are going to finish that baby name list. You are going to solidify your options. You are going to know, boy, girl, here are my top 3 favorites for each. I am manifesting that with you. Happy 2025, everybody. What is a better way to start off than with a video full of baby name advice from a professional? If you are new here, I'm Steph. I'm a name consultant, an author, a content creator, a mom of 3, and a lover of all things whimsy, and I am so excited to share all of this information. Many of these questions will benefit everyone. I asked my Patreon members and in my Instagram stories, and my community came through. I could not choose everyone's name question, but I have 12 amazing ones and a bonus at the end where you guys can put in the comments this or that name. We are going to dive right in, but I will tell you guys that one of the questions was, what would I rename my kids if I chose a different theme and if I was in witness protection? And that was incredibly fun. I got to name my kids again like 3 times. Okay, starting off, we have expecting third girl. Anna with nickname Annie and Margaret nickname Maggie or Mag. Don't want anything popular, SOS. Now, one of my toxic traits as a name consultant is that when I name kids, I want them to be in alphabetical order. This is a me problem. Don't think you have to do this, please. Don't think you have to do this. So immediately I'm going lower in the alphabet. I'm looking at names like Valerie with a nickname of Val and Vivian nickname Viv. Scarlett with Letty as a nickname, and Samantha and Sammy. I just know those are kind of popular, but also so are Anna and Margaret. But maybe she just means like nothing like Charlotte, right? Or Evelyn. Those are super popular. But if we wanted to go like earlier in the alphabet and break my own rule because it's not about me, I would also say Danielle would go really well. Anna, Margaret, and Danielle with a nickname of Danny. Francesca or Frankie would be really cute. And then you could also do something like any of the different types of like Rosalind or Rosamond or Rosemary, and she could go by Rosie. That would be adorable. Second up, we have how much thought should go into name meaning. My husband and I don't care for name meaning very much, but my mother-in-law greatly cares about name meaning for her grandkids, even though she didn't consider meaning when naming her own children, LOL. My husband and I have Odessa on our short list if we ever have a daughter, but knowing how much my mother-in-law cares about a name meaning pushes me to want to take Odessa off the list. I'll say this first, it's individual to everybody, but I want to point out that of the clients I've worked with, like on a more intimate basis, and I've given them the options of, please rank these 3 things, right? Flow, uncommonness, or name meaning. Name meaning is always number 3 in order of importance. Flow and uncommonness usually are floating way higher. And meaning is a nice bonus if it means something nice. Now, she didn't do it with her kids. It doesn't matter what mother-in-law thinks. I'm sorry. That's blunt, and it's true though. I just don't think it matters. I think Odessa is pretty. I looked up a lot of the different meanings, and there are some weird associations with it or negative ones, but honestly, it's a place name. It's beautiful. I think it's a fantastic name. I wouldn't take it off my list, but it's one of those things you have to weigh the pros and cons. Like, is it worth dealing with forever? Is there a name I could love more? If it's something that like speaks to your heart and makes you smile every time you say it and you just can't stop thinking about it, don't take Odessa off your list. The only 2 people that have to agree are you and your partner. Next up, we have my kids' first initials are FMRD. For baby number 5, I like another D name. Is that a no-no? If that's your last baby, go for it. If you're gonna continue on, I don't know. At that point, then I'd be like, okay, if a 6th child, I would want them to match maybe another initial, or I would be worried, like you definitely want to stay away from D because then you'd have 3 in a row. If it's your last baby and it's a name you love, go for it. I am personally a huge fan of buying like my kids their initial since their names are never found anywhere, since they have uncommon names. And so I love to get them things that start with E, F, and O, or ornaments of E, F, and O. I love to embrace their different initials, and it's easy to, like when my boys get the same thing, although E and F look very similar. Oops. We do like write their initials so we know the difference. I think it's really special when every kid has their own letter. I think it's helpful for their identity, and I like it. And I know some families all have an L or they all pick an S, and there are some great names. So I like those themes as well. I personally like when my kids have different first initials, but that's, I think, personal preference too. I keep dreaming about the name Tucker. Is it too much of a dog name? Okay, first of all, there's no such thing anymore. Let's look at Luna. Luna is a very popular dog name and a very popular human name, and we all know a Luna person and we all know a Luna dog, okay? I don't think you have to worry about a dog name. I mean, short of Spot and Spike or Rex, even Rex and Spike, I'd probably give to a boy. But short of like Spot, like you don't have to worry. Tucker is a really cute kind of Southern name, and I don't think you need to stay away from it for that reason at all. Can I name baby Penelope if big sis is already Poppy? Too similar? I think since you're asking this, you probably know the answer. I would agree, too similar. There's a lot of P sounds, and yes, you can have sibling sets that have the same initial, but those I usually try to say make the rest of the name as different as possible. What if Penelope ends up going by Penny, then you have Poppy and Penny, and it's too much in my opinion. I also know people who have used Poppy as a nickname for Penelope, and I would probably stay away from it. I would almost maybe even lean into the floral theme of like Magnolia or Marigold or Lily or Daisy. You could do lots of options that would really be special next to Poppy. Even though Penelope is a great name, I probably wouldn't recommend it. My favorite names change so much with trends. How do I pick a name that I'll still love years from now? So this is a really good question, but it won't matter once you actually give a child a name. Over the years, yes, your list will change. I used to love Isla. I still always will have a special place in my heart for it, but it's not a name I would consider now. Once your child is with that name, you will love it forever because it's a part of them and it's your child. And so even though people are like, oh, I named my child this and now it's in the top 10, or my child's name was so trendy in the 90s and it's very clear, it truly will not matter. What will happen is you'll fall in love with new names and you'll meet children and other people with these names and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. If I had another kid, maybe I'd use that name. But you won't ever like fall out of love with your kid's name. So whatever you choose will be amazing. Aside from those people who experience like name regret in the first year of baby's life, but once your child grows up and that is who they are, you will not be able to think of them with a different name. So whatever happens with the trends or the ranking of that name won't even matter to you. Okay, here we go. This is about me now. If you had to choose a theme to name your children, what would it have been? Feel free to pick up to 3 themes if picking one is too hard. Oh, I did pick 3 themes. And then I also combined it with somebody else's. These are both Patreon members. Great job, ladies. And if you had to rename your children like you went into witness protection or something, what names would you choose? Okay, I gotta consult my notes. Theme number 1, if I had to rename my children, I think I would embrace colors. I would love for them each to have their own color name, and I'm kind of obsessed with certain color names. Actually, these are out of alphabetical order, but this is how they sound good to me. My maternal grandfather was named Forrest, and I've always loved that name. So I'd probably do Forrest, Cyan, and Olive. What do you guys think? I know Olive is so popular. Well, it's not super popular, but since Olivia is so popular, it's like adjacent to popularity. And then I also really love gray and violet together as like a Sibset. I don't know why. There's something about that. This is my least favorite. So I'm going least to like my top theme, okay? Next up, I'd go with names that have great nicknames. Like I have done a video like this in the past where I've said like what I would name a girl right now, and it would be Desdemona with the nickname of Desi. Oh, I just love it so much. So if I were to do that for my boys, I would do, this is so silly because I'm like questioning, but I'm not really naming children, so it's okay. This is the fun stage, right? When you just get to think about it. Taggart, you guys, I know, I love uncommon names, okay? Get over it. Because he'd go by Tag, and how cute would that be? And then Tennyson. I am obsessed with the name Tennyson these days, and he would go by Sunny. Or even Tenny. I don't know what he would go by. Probably Sunny, because then it would be Tag and Sunny. So Taggart and Tennyson. And then a girl, she would be like Desdemona, Desi. Or I also love Imogen, and she'd go by Immy or Jen or Jenny. These names, they're so beautiful. Wait, one more nickname name that I've always loved that is so kind of retro, mid-century weird, Veronica, and she'd go by Ronnie. Love it. And my final theme would be Shakespeare theme. So I went to theater school. I have an acting degree. I am obsessed with Shakespeare plays. When you actually dig into them, they're so interesting and so universal, all of the themes. And I love reading Shakespeare, and I love how he wrote them, or if he didn't write them, whoever did an amazing job, okay? Because I know there's some theories out there. So by the way, you can probably tell from my girls' names in the previous theme that I do enjoy a Shakespeare name already. But like if I was going to do a Sibset and I'm going to do 3 girls together and then the boy names together, I don't know why. That's just how it feels like it would be. So for girls, I would do Beatrice, Ophelia, and Reagan. And for boys, I would do Demetrius, Montague, and Oberon. I crack myself up. Those are great names though. Like I don't regret that. But then like I wanted to switch to, you guys, what would I use if we were in witness protection? I would probably go with something a little more mainstream because we're trying to hide for some reason. So if I had to rename my 2 boys and my daughter, Callum, Roscoe, and Piper. Roscoe's a little bit out there, but I have been in love with it forever. Callum I've been in love with forever, and Piper, just such a great name. So those are the 3 that I would choose if I had to pick more mainstream names. What do you guys think? The next question is, any tips for picking a middle name? Yes, I have tips. So my first tip is to alternate your syllables. So if you're doing the 3-syllable first name, do a 1-syllable middle name, or if you're doing a 2-syllable first name, maybe do a 3-syllable middle name. 2 and 2 work well. I really don't care for 1 and 1, but people do it, and some of them work. You know, everything is subjective, right, with names. My other idea is to you can go down one of 2 routes, I tell people. I chose to go down the family honoring route. So like my boys have my maiden name in the middle spot, and my daughter has my middle name, Lynn. And I love that for them, because my maiden name is special to me, and my daughter and I having the same middle name. Like, I really love the family route. But the other way to do it is, especially if you picked a more maybe traditional classic first name, is to go bold in that middle spot. I recommend choosing a really uncommon name that you were maybe a little too nervous to use in their first name, and that they could possibly choose one day, or that they would find really interesting, and they'd be like, how did you pick this middle name? So my advice is to go bold or honor a family member. And then the other option, though, is kind of doing the one that has the best flow, and that usually ends up being a 1-syllable name. Speaking of honoring a family member, naming baby girl after 2 family members. Do you like Jeanie Louise or Dahlia Jean? Okay, this is tricky because there is something so great about the name Jeanie Louise. Like, Louise is a great middle name, by the way, that has the perfect cadence to go with a lot of names. Jeanie Louise, I mean, there's something, it like scratches a part of my brain. Like, it makes me so happy. But Dahlia Jean is absolutely stunning. Like, I love the name Dahlia. She could go by Leah. She goes by Dolly. I'm obsessed. Like, the way it's going to win by this much, I am going to say my choice, my pick would be Dahlia Jean. Do you ever feel like babies come with their names and we go through the process of discovering what it is? Wow, what a great question. You have the best questions. No, I don't ever think of it that way, to be honest. I think it's great if you do, and I don't think there's any right way to think of it. I think our children embody their names, and those names become a part of their identity and who they are organically after it's chosen. But I think that's one of the first gifts we give them, and it's a beautiful thing to pick your child's name, and it's a tricky thing, and it's a big thing, but I guess I just have never looked at it that way. But I think it's a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. I really do. What is a good sibling name to go with the boy named Larsen? So Larsen is a surname as first name, so I think we would continue with that, in my opinion. And for boys, I was thinking Murphy and Walker. Larsen and Murphy, Larsen and Walker would be great if you had 2 boys. And then if you have a daughter, I was coming up with some names, and 2 of them ended in an L sound, and I really liked them. So that was what was coming to me, so I'm going to share it with you. Larsen and Campbell, or Larsen and Kendall. I think those would be amazing choices with Larsen. Is finding the right name like love at first sight, or does it take time to grow on you? That is an amazing question, and I would say both. You could be slapped in the face with a great name and be like, I'm obsessed, I love this name. Or you could slowly come around to loving a name, which is good, because if you and your partner don't agree and it's the beginning of your pregnancy, you can just keep bringing it up and hope that they change their mind. Now, I don't endorse choosing a name your partner doesn't like. If they don't end up liking it, you don't want to choose it. It's not worth it. You guys want to meet in the middle. You want both parties to be really happy with the name, all the parents to be happy with the name, okay? But I have found over the years as a name consultant that the more I hear people's names, the more I talk to people about names and look up names and help people, I love so many names that I didn't love before, and I find it difficult to find a name that I don't like because they all grow on you. You could be like, I don't know how I feel about this name until you meet a child with it, and then you start to think about it more, and you keep thinking, oh, that was so cute on that kid, and blah, 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 and then you end up loving a name, and that's very possible. So I would be open to either way of falling in love with a name. Thank you guys so much for listening to this entire video and hopefully soaking in all of the baby name advice possible. How does your name list look? Have you reconsidered anything based on my advice? I'd love to hear it. So the final question, and I want you to put in the comments what you would choose. I am struggling so hard. I don't even know if I want to give an answer. Maybe I'll put mine in the comments because I feel bad making you guys choose when I refuse to choose. That doesn't seem fair. So the question was literally Elle or Sloan. What do you guys think? Elle or Sloan? Put it in the comments. Help this person out. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video, subscribe for more. I have an amazing series coming up that you are going to love, and happy naming!